All right, let's talk about critical thinking. And no, I don't mean some dry academic thing you had to learn in school. We're going to treat it for what it really is, a practical, hands-on toolkit that helps you make way better decisions in your everyday life. So let's get right into it and start building that toolkit. So let me ask you something. Have you ever just jumped to a conclusion, made a snap judgment that felt totally right, but then bam, you find out you were completely wrong? Yeah, we've all been there. That's our brain on autopilot, our default kind of lazy thinking. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle today. Okay, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. On the left, you've got a simple fact, a pure observation, the report is late. That's it. But on the right, that's the story we immediately tell ourselves. My colleague is unreliable. See that gap? Critical thinking is all about living in that space between the fact and the story. It's about hitting pause before you make that massive leap. And that really brings us to what critical thinking actually is. At its core, it's a deliberate, self-regulated process. Now, what does that mean in plain English? It means it's not automatic. It's something you have to choose to do. It's the conscious decision to slow down, really look at the information in front of you, and then decide what to believe or what to do next. It's basically the antidote to that lazy, default thinking we were just talking about. So why should you even care about this? Well, because the stakes are incredibly high. Seriously, this isn't just about winning an argument on the internet. We're talking about sharpening your judgment when you're under pressure, spotting when someone's trying to manipulate you, and solving problems that actually matter. These are decisions that can impact your job, your money, even your safety. Okay, so we get it. It's important. But how do we actually do it? You can't just try harder. You need a system, right? A kind of blueprint for taking action. And that's where one of the best frameworks out there comes in, the OODA loop. Now, the OODA loop, this thing was originally created for fighter pilots. Yeah, guys making life or death calls in a split second. But here's the cool part. It's an absolutely brilliant tool for the rest of us too. It's a really simple 4-step cycle. Observe, orient, decide, and act. Let's break down what each of those means. First up, observe. This is all about gathering data. Think of yourself as a security camera, just recording what's happening. Your only job is to collect the raw, unfiltered facts. No opinions, no stories, no interpretations. Not yet. Just what is actually happening. Okay, next up is orient. And listen, this is probably the most important step of the whole loop. This is where you actually try to make sense of what you just observed. You connect it to your own experiences, your culture, your goals. But you have to be really, really careful here, because this is also the exact moment where your own biases can creep in and totally warp your view of what's real. So once you've oriented yourself, it's time to decide. And this isn't just a go with your gut kind of thing. It's a methodical process. You come up with a few different options, and then you weigh them against some hard criteria. Ask yourself, what's the risk? What do I have to work with? How much time do I have? Then you pick the best path forward, based on logic, not just a feeling. And finally, step 4, you act. You put your decision into motion. But, and this is key, it doesn't stop there. The second you act, you're immediately back at step 1, observing the results of your action. See, it's a continuous loop for a reason. It's designed to help you constantly adapt as things change. Now, this all sounds pretty straightforward, right? Observe, orient, decide, act. But there's a catch. The biggest obstacle to clear thinking, the biggest enemy in this whole process, it isn't out there. It's right here, inside your own head.
I mean, think about it. The problem today isn't a lack of information. We are swimming, practically drowning in it. The real challenge is fighting against our own brain's built-in programming, all those mental traps and shortcuts that can lead us way off course before we even know what's happening.
Let's talk about mental trap number 1, confirmation bias. This is the big one, and it is so sneaky. It's our natural tendency to look for proof that we're already right, while at the same time we ignore or explain away anything that challenges our beliefs. It feels comforting for sure, but it's like putting on a blindfold to reality. And then you've got its cousin, groupthink. Have you ever been in a meeting where you know something is a bad idea, but nobody wants to be the one to rock the boat? That's groupthink. It's when the desire to just get along and keep things harmonious completely overrides a clear-eyed look at the options. It's a total killer of good decisions. This iceberg model is a fantastic way to think about another huge blind spot, culture. The stuff we see above the water, language, food, the way people dress, that's just the tiny tip of the iceberg. The really powerful stuff, the huge mass below the surface, That's where you find the deep-seated values, the beliefs about right and wrong, the assumptions about what's normal. And if you don't account for that hidden part, you are almost guaranteed to misread a situation. Okay, so we've got the framework, the OODA loop, and we know the enemies, our own mental traps. So what now? How do we actually put this stuff to work? Let's get into some real practical tools that'll help you think smarter, not harder, and actually see a difference. Here's a great example, how you read something. Most of us just read passively, maybe highlight a few things. Instead, try the SQ3R method. You survey at first, just skim. Then you form questions from the headings. Then you read to find the answers. Then you recite, summarize it out loud, and finally review to make sure you got it. It completely transforms reading from a passive chore into an active, critical thinking exercise. And going back to that cultural iceberg, understanding the hidden parts is everything when you're working with other people. Just look at this simple breakdown. In individualist cultures, it's all about personal goals and being self-reliant. But in collectivist cultures, the focus is on the group, on harmony, and on your obligations to others. One isn't better than the other, but man, if you don't understand that difference, you're gonna have problems. And here's the payoff. When you get a handle on these invisible dimensions, you stop making bad assumptions about why people do what they do. You can communicate so much more effectively. It means fewer misunderstandings, stronger relationships, and just plain better results, whether that's with your team at work or a client halfway across the world. All right, let's wrap this up. When you boil it all down, critical thinking might just be the most important skill you can ever develop. And the reason is simple. It leads to better outcomes, period. I absolutely love this quote because it just gets to the very heart of it all. This skill isn't about being cynical or criticizing people just for the sake of it. It's a positive, constructive process. The whole point is to improve decisions and get better results. So if you want to start using this, like right now, just burn these 3 questions into your brain. Anytime you're about to make a call, just stop and ask, how do I really know this is true? What else could possibly explain this? And maybe the most powerful one of all, what am I just assuming right now? And that brings me to my final challenge for you, because this isn't just something to think about, it's something to do. So my question is this: what's one assumption you're holding right now about your work, about someone in your life, maybe even about yourself, that you're going to deliberately challenge today?